Greetings everyone, my name is Dr. Jason Freeman. I'd like to welcome you all to my channel. So as of time of recording, we're about 4 months away from the premiere of James Gunn's Superman. And I for one am very excited about this movie. I'm excited to see more of the world that Gunn built with Peacemaker and the Suicide Squad and the Creature Commandos. I'm also excited to see this version of Lex Luthor. And most of all, I'm excited to see what this movie is actually about because I believe that Gunn has not really revealed much of what the movie actually is in the trailer. But alas, we're still 4 months away, and so in the meantime, I've been reading comics that, based on what I've seen with the trailer and what I've heard from Gunn and others, I think gives us a little feel of what the movie might be about. So here are 5 comics I think you should read in advance of the premiere of James Gunn's Superman. Now the first comic on the list is probably my second favorite of all of them, and that is Superman 680, Dog of Steel. Now we all saw the good boy Krypto in the trailer, and I for one got all the feels. And so this comic does basically the same thing. Now I won't spoil it, but this comic gives us an understanding of the relationship between Superman, the last son of Krypton, and Krypto, the last dog of Krypton. You also get an understanding of how others, in particular humans, might be feeling about this superpowered animal, and maybe some that might be a little jealous. And while there's not a ton of story in this around 20-page comic, it does have a lot of heart. The second comic on my list is Justice League vs. Godzilla vs. Kong. Now in the trailer we see Superman fight a kaiju. Now there's no real indication if this is at the beginning of the movie, if it's somewhere in the middle, towards the end, but it does show the kind of threats that this particular version of Superman is facing in this world. Now in this comic you have Superman squaring up with Godzilla himself, and Godzilla's showing him why he's king of the monsters. And so on one side you have multiple members of the Justice League. I won't spoil who they are, but there's a lot. From Gotham to Metropolis, all the way through. And then on the flip side, you have the monsters that we saw in the Godzilla movies and the Godzilla versus Kong movies and, the Godzilla King of the Monsters, like all these new movies with the whole monarch and all that stuff going on. And again, not giving too much away, not everybody walks away from this. The third comic on my list is The Authority. Now a while back I did a whole video on The Authority, so I won't go into too much detail here. However, basically they're kind of like the Justice League with an edge. Think of them like the Thunderbolts of the DCU. And I'm also looking forward to that movie as well, by the way. So basically a group of heroes who are there to do the jobs that the Justice League or the Avengers just don't want to or aren't willing to do. Now we see at least one member of the Authority in the trailer for the Superman movie, so the Engineer, and my theory is that Luthor is going to form a team that's going to either be a predecessor to the Authority or maybe the DCU's version of the Authority. And I'm also really looking forward to the Authority film when that comes out, frankly because I'm waiting for certain people's heads to explode once they see Apollo at midnight. I'm really looking forward to that. Just certain folks, the anti-woke folk, I'm looking for their heads to explode. I hope you're enjoying the video, but I just wanted to quickly mention that if you're enjoying what you're seeing from the DCU or DC Comics in general, why not buy a Funko Pop of your favorite DC character? I have a few myself and will definitely be getting more. To get your own Funko Pop DC character, click on the link in the description. Now the fourth comic on my list, and probably my favorite, is Lex Luthor, Man of Steel. Now this comic was brought to my attention via an interview that Nicholas Hoult, who plays Luthor in the upcoming Superman film, did with producer and podcaster Josh Horowitz. When asked if there was a comic that Hoult kept coming back to when preparing for the Luthor role, he mentioned this comic specifically.
And last thing on that, was there a comic you kept coming back to? There's so many to pick and choose from. Which one did you find most helpful?
There's so many, and James has already spoken about quite a few that influence obviously the overall film and All-Star Superman. And there's little things that you draw from each, Birthright and all those comics, but the one that I really rang, and I read a lot, but the one that I found myself picking up again a lot was Luthor, Man of Steel.
Imagine seeing the DC universe through Lex Luthor's eyes. How he sees Superman, how he sees Metropolis, how he sees humanity and how he sees Superman's impact on and threat to humanity. Now in the comic we get to see a Lex Luthor plan from the inside, from the beginning to end. We also see a lot of his associates and his relationships with those associates, including one or two unexpected allies along the way. And by the end of the comic, even if you don't like Luthor or agree with him, you'll at least understand it. The fifth comic on my list is All-Star Superman. I'm not sure why I just channeled the Joker there. And I'm not sure if it was the Jack Nicholson or the Heath Ledger, but for some reason just my voice went full Joker. So I was first introduced to this comic with James Gunn's introduction of the DCU, Chapter 1, Gods and Monsters. He used the cover as the kind of image associated with his Superman film, which he called Superman Legacy at the time. So when I got the comic, I read it and I really enjoyed it. And so the best way I can describe it is basically Superman goes on a bunch of adventures and you get to see kind of how his life is along the way. And so one of my hopes for the 2025 Superman film is that we basically just see like a week, you know, I would say a day is probably a little bit too optimistic, but like at least a week in the life of Superman, you know, Monday through Sunday. And so at the beginning, we see him wake up, we see him shave, we see him go fly the dog, and basically we see him get started going to work at the Daily Planet. And then each day we see a new adventure, a different thing, similar to what we see in All-Star Superman, where some of these threats are maybe somewhat minor and some of these are existential. And then at the end of the movie, we see him go to bed on Sunday night, wake up Monday morning of the next week just to do it all over again. The probably thing I like most about All-Star Superman is that it shows his true superpower, which isn't his speed, isn't his strength, isn't his heat vision. Rather, it's the fact that he chooses to do the right thing pretty much consistently, and he does it because, not because he has to, but because he wants to, because he sees it as being just the right thing to do. And he does this even in the face of constant harassment by an egomaniacal billionaire. Now, if you found this video interesting and or informative, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. Also, please share this video. And if there are other comics you would recommend people see before watching the 2025 Superman film, please leave those suggestions in the comment section below. Thank you all for your time and have a wonderful rest of your day.